Hey, Brennan here. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. We got a great 2025 rookie profile show here for you today. I'm going to be joined by Jason DiVrienzo, my podcast co-host, and we are going to break down Mr. Tre Harris for you. We've watched the All 22 film, his Kentucky game and South Carolina, broke it down play by play. You want access to those all 22 films and you want to support the channel, hit that website below. Check out all the great things the Big Boards product has to offer. We're going to go through his statistics. We're going to go through his scouting report. What did we see on the film? Some trends on that film as we watch the games. We're going to talk about good and maybe a little bit concerning. What kind of draft capital is he going to get, right? And what about our rookie picks? Where is the value in our rookie picks for Tre Harris if he's somebody you were targeting next year to draft? And then, of course, we love having our player talks and our player comp discussions as well. So that should be fun as well. So you play Dynasty Redraft, hit that subscribe button, help me grow the channel. This is your destination for not only the 2025 rookie class, but the 2026 and 2027 as well. Let's get to the show. All right, Jason, let's get to our second rookie report of the evening. And let's talk about Mr. Tre Harris. Like we'd mentioned earlier, we just got done watching the All 22 film on this guy, his Kentucky and South Carolina games. 6'3" receiver, 210-pound senior. This is his fifth season, 3 years at Louisiana Tech, his last two at Ole Miss, and there hasn't been a more dominant receiver in college football. Starting off the season, I know he's been banged up the last couple weeks. I don't know if he's going to play anymore this year or if he's going to hang it up and go to the NFL draft. I mean, there's no way he comes back, so he's going to be going to the draft. I was really interested in watching that film, right? Because there's people that we watch these receivers, we watch players, and you think of production and you think to yourself like, oh, if he's producing, he's got to be like off the charts skill wise. And I came back like 50-50 with Tre Harris. I mean, so why don't you give us what your thoughts were on and tell everybody what we saw on the film?
Yeah, with Trey Harris, I mean, the number one thing that I noticed right away is I want to see a little bit more explosion and in his acceleration. It's a bit slow, but what I did like is the fact that he did have a bit of a release arsenal with his footwork, his stemming. I didn't see much when it came to like foot fire or anything like that, but he was very manipulative with his gestures and foot movement to manipulate defenders in order to create separation. The problem is that if he did not create that initial separation within the first 5 yards or so, that defender was at his hip his entire route, whether it was going all the way vertical or even at the top of his break. So he's got to win early. If he does win early, he is able to hit a different gear. He extends those long strides and he can stack defenders and get downfield. It's really going to be whether or not he can beat out NFL corners at that initial release. So if he's in off man coverage, I feel better about him. I think he can do really well in zone coverage. If it's man coverage, I'm a little bit concerned if he faces an NFL man to man corner. But I think there's physicality within the route. I like his hand fighting throughout his route. I think at the catch point, I think he can be physical at times, but he's got good strong hands to hold on to the ball and make difficult catches in traffic. High pointing can sometimes be inconsistent, but I've seen enough of him being strong at the catch point to feel good about his above the rim ability. The route running is pretty good. I think at the top of his routes he can be manipulative, whether he stems inside or outside in order to create that separation. But there's no explosion at the top of his routes, and I think when it comes to zone coverage, he'll operate much better. If he's trying to break with a corner at his hip, it is going to cause some problems. So I think there's some limitations in the scheme. We saw him do a lot of stuff at the line of scrimmage, and I don't think because of the lack of acceleration and explosion, that is the best way to utilize him. I think he needs to be used downfield a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, you said a lot there.
I did. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I mean,
I was
because
just thinking of the whole thing.
yeah, he's a prototypical X receiver, right? He played on the boundary on those two films
Right.
that we watched. He was on the boundary the majority part of the time, maybe three or four out of the slot, inside slants and stuff like that. But you talk about off coverage, and I agree with you. If he doesn't have someone right in his face, he's got to win early. I mean, I was a little concerned about his vertical ability on, like, what did we see? 3 or 4 or 5, vertical plays.
Mhm.
Wasn't a whole lot of separation as far as stacking the guy vertical, but he's got the length. He's got that high point ability, great possession receiver, especially on the boundary. I like his route tempo, like you had mentioned, the way he does manipulate defenders and he does his break. I just didn't see a super snappy guy, but I guess it's 6'3",
He's
210.
not snappy.
You
No.
know, so and again, space creation to me is everything. And I'm a little concerned about his limited route tree. I mean, what did we see on that? We saw stop routes on the boundary. We saw like go routes, like stutter step go routes.
Yeah.
Hitches. We saw inside slants and him taking advantage of zone coverages and really added to his production, him being wide open in several times where he just, for some reason, got lost in the defensive coverage. I think he's got some ball security issues that we have to also mention. He had many
fumble.
He had a fumble. He's had some drop issues. He had that one in the bread basket, right on the post pattern. He got it right in his hands. I mean, I'm not saying that that's something that's like major, but like I said to you before, kind of when we were watching those films, this is like he's giving me Rashee Rice, and we're going to get to player comps here shortly. Like I was all in on Rashee Rice, and then right at this moment, I started kind of souring on Rashee Rice because I was seeing the same things I see with Trey Harris. So I'm going to keep a positive, mind about it. But because, when he gets to the NFL, he could certainly do, a lot of damage. And he'll probably be a Senior Bowl guy, right? You think he's definitely a Senior Bowl candidate?
I would think so. I hope so.
Yeah,
because I'm going to go and I want to see him up close.
But overall, man, the guy's been super productive. He's a top 5 receiver for us right now, and after the top 2 or 3, he's squarely in there. So, and he's been productive this year. I mean, through week 10, he's got 900 and something yards and 6 touchdowns. I mean, so he's just been killing it.
Been killing it. I think one thing I do want to point out, and we saw this in some of the film, and I'm remembering back when I did some of his all 22 film review before the season during the summer, some of the same problems I noticed is I want to see him finish a route. Like sometimes he can get lackadaisical and he just doesn't finish it with the same momentum that he started it with. And even after the catch, I want to see a little bit more of him trying to fight through the tackles. But even if the ball's not coming his way, I want to see him continue. Like I want to see him still fulfill his route that he was, assigned to. So that is something that really bothers me, is just the motor within his route.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how the NFL views these 6'3", 210 receivers, right? They seem to be slowly coming back in favor than the smaller, twitchier guys, but nonetheless, it's going to be, we are. We're going to see how it all turns out. So, all right, let's talk about his draft capital. All right. Right now, I got him as a day 2 selection. I don't think he's going to go in the first round. I mean, he might. I'm not sure. I wouldn't draft him in the first round, but I could see him mid round 2 is kind of where I'm thinking he comes off. What are your thoughts?
I think mid to late 2 seems about right.
Now, we just did a rookie mock on the YouTube channel, and, we gave him a landing spot at the Washington Commanders, which was kind of nice. And I did take him in the first round. So I think he's a late first round super flex, especially if he gets that draft capital and a landing spot, with immediate opportunity. And Washington Commanders was a really good landing spot because I really think they need someone on the opposite side of Scary Terry there. And of course, with Jaden Daniels, who wouldn't want to be a part of that offense. So I got him as a late first, early second, rookie pick. So to provide value of where you think, if you really want Trey Harris, that's about where I think he's going to come off the board. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, if he gets a spot where there's opportunity next to Terry McLaurin, I think back end of the first is ideal. Just depending upon landing spot and opportunity, I think that's what's going to change his value. But that was a good spot, and it made total sense to take him that high.
Yeah, and we love doing player comps on here.
Yes,
not sure we love doing player comps, but we do them. I'm going to do Rashee Rice. I mean, like I said, I'm watching Trey Harris. I'm looking back at seeing Rashee Rice from a few years back, and we've seen his success. Same kind of player to me, the same exact kind of things that I was thinking about watching Trey Harris when we were watching those all 22 films. I was thinking back to Rashee Rice. And like I said, I admitted, I mean, Rashee Rice, I kind of soured on at the, right towards the draft after liking him a lot after watching the all 22 film. And he certainly has turned out to be a great receiver. Hopefully he recovers well from his knee injury. But so Trey Harris, I have Rashee Rice. I could see him maybe, if he's in the right spot, having a production similar to maybe Rashee Rice as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, why not? Rasheed Rice was in a perfect position to succeed, and Trey Harris could be too. I'll be in all honesty, I had Alec Pierce down, but then I thought about it. Pierce has a much better second gear and downfield speed than Trey
Mm.
Harris does. So Michael Pittman, like I know they're both on the Colts, and maybe I'm cheating, but Michael Pittman, the size, just the way he moves, the manipulation, off the line of scrimmage, does the same type of body gestures and footwork in order to create separation. I see a bit of Michael Pittman, and it could be the same particular type of path because when Pittman's healthy, he can be productive.
I like it. Let me ask you a question. Do you think Trey Harris is a wide receiver one on a team?
I think he's more of a two
Me too.
because I don't know if there's upside with him based on the limited ability in the second level. And I need to see him do better with his route concepts and have a better motor with finishing his routes to feel
Yeah.
comfortable with as a
Yeah.
wide receiver one. And
Yeah.
the drops too. But you know what? Rasheed Rice had a lot of drops in college too. So
Right.
maybe
So,
we're playing too much into that.
yeah, well, exactly. They all can continue to get better. They're young kids,
Right.
right? Well, at least
Exactly.
for me, they're young kids. So yeah, well, there you guys got it, man. That is our Trey Harris rookie report. It should be fun to see where he gets drafted.